Hello everyone, in this video I am going to explain cell-mediated immunity. So cell-mediated immunity is basically a type of adaptive immune response. So in the cell-mediated immunity, here basically T cell involved in this process, and T cell directly kill the infected cell or directly kill the self-altered cells like cancer cell or tumor cells. And in this illustration here, this is basically a overview of cell-mediated immunity. Here, this is assume that this is a activated T cell. This activated T cell directly attack the altered cell. This altered cell can be cancer cell, or this can be a tumor cell. Then this cancer cell or tumor cell get destroyed by T cell or activated T cell. So to understand cell-mediated immunity perfectly, we have to know some key components of cell-mediated immunity first. And let's see the key components of the cell-mediated immunity. So here first, MSC class 1 molecule. This MSC class 1 molecule is basically present on all types of nucleated cells. So basically those cells which contain nucleus, those cells which contain nucleus have in maximum time have MSC class 1 molecules, and this basically has seen in vertebrate cells. And so in the structure of MSC class 1 molecule, there is basically um, heavy chain, and there is basically consist of it is basically consist of a heavy chain, and linked, and this whole portion is basically a heavy chain, and it is linked with a invariant protein called beta 2 microglobulin. This is the structure of MSC class 1 molecule. So this MSC class 1 molecule are found on the cell surface. Let's say this is a cell, and this cell has a nucleus, and so in its surface there is a protein. This protein is called MSC class 1 molecule. So what is the basic function, or what this MSC class 1 molecule do? It basically present the antigen to the T cell. This is the main function of MSC class 1 molecule. Now let's jump into the MSC class 2 molecule. This MSC class 2 molecule also found on the cell surface, but this is basically found on the antigen presenting cell. So this MSC class 2 molecule, let's say this is the whole cell, and in the cell surface we will found the MSC class 2 molecule. So this MSC class 2 molecule basically found on antigen presenting cell. Antigen presenting cell like macrophages or B lymphocyte or dendritic cell. Okay, now in the structure of MSC class 2 molecule, there is basically uh, two glycoprotein chain. One is alpha, and one is alpha and the other is beta. Here alpha, here in this portion there is alpha 1 and then alpha 2, and in this portion there is beta 1 and beta 2. So there is basically two glycoprotein chain. Okay, this MSC class 2 molecule also show the antigen to the T cell. Now in the T cell there is basically, or in the whole cell mediated immunity process, there is basically two types of T cell. One is helper T cell and other is cytotoxic T cell. So here cytotoxic T cell, or if we assume only T cell, this T cell basically arise from the bone marrow, and after that this T cell migrate to the thymus gland to mature. So when it get mature, it contain T cell receptor and and other CD4 or CD8 surface protein. Okay, now let's see the cytotoxic T cell. The cytotoxic T cell is the basically the main effector of cell-mediated immunity. Uh, when it gets activated, it directly kill the abnormal cells by releasing perforins, by releasing say perforin or enzymes, and it basically induce the apoptosis. And so how do we recognize cytotoxic T cell and helper T cell? So if we look at this illustration, we will notice that the helper T cell has a surface receptor called T cell receptor, and cytotoxic T cell also has a TCR or T cell receptor. So we basically distinguish helper T cell and cytotoxic T cell by membrane glycoprotein. And which membrane glycoprotein? This CD4 and CD8. This cytotoxic T cell always contains CD8 glycoprotein, and helper T cell always contain CD4 glycoprotein. So we now know about cytotoxic T cell, what cytotoxic T cell basically do. This cytotoxic T cell directly, we first know that in cell-mediated immunities, T cell directly attack the self-altered cell. So in this process, basically cytotoxic T cell, basically this cytotoxic T cell directly attack the self-altered cell. Okay, then now let's see the function of helper T cell. Here the helper T cell basically, when it recognize, and suppose it recognize an antigen, then it will release cytokines. It will release cytokines. By releasing cytokines, it will release say cytokines. By releasing cytokines, it will activate B cell, and it also activate the cytotoxic T cell. So helper T cell don't directly attack the self-altered cell, but it induce other cells to kill the tumor cell, or let's say cancer cell. So they okay, so in the cell-mediated immunity process, there is also another type of T cell which I didn't mention in this slide. This is called T suppressor cell. So what is basically the function of T suppressor cell? T suppressor cell is it basically maintain immune tolerance and preventing autoimmune diseases, so that our body's own protein don't get affected or infected by or attacked by these T cells. And in this cell-mediated immunity process, there is also another type of cell involved, but it not that significant impact on this process, which is natural killer cell. This natural killer cell is basically recognize and kill the cells that lack MSC class 1 molecules, such as virus infected cells or tumor cells. So these are the key components of cell mediated immunity. In the next video, we will see how these components actually work, and actually it induce or kill the virus infected cells or other self altered cells.